Hello grade 12s, welcome to Life Science for today, right? Today we're going to have a look at reproductive strategies, right? So, of course, we need to jump straight into it so we can get going because we haven't got much time, right? So if I have a look at it, oh, I need to do that. First thing we're going to have a look at is your terminology. Now the terminologies I've given you is quite strange at times. The first one is a nice simple one. Fertilization, and you guys know that. You've done this one quite a few times already. The next one I'm giving you, now you need to start concentrating. You get ovipary, you get vivipary, ovivivipary, and you get vivipary. What I want from you guys is I want a quick explanation what these words actually mean. Now there's not too many, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes, but I want you to think about it very carefully. Make sure you have a good look at the words before you do your explanation. Are you ready? Off you go. Right, let's have a look at it. We're going to go through the first one, which is very simple. You guys know this. You've been doing this for so many years from grade 9. So let's have a look at it. First one we're going to have a look at it is fertilization. And fertilization is the fusion of the sperm and the egg cell. Very easy. You guys are going to get this when you do human reproduction. It's very important to remember. And you've been doing it for so long, so it doesn't really matter. The next one I want to get to, these are quite cool. I love these. We always talk about them, and they confuse you. Okay. The first one is ovipary, oviparous, in other words. Okay. If we have a look at it, excuse me, it's a method of reproduction in which where eggs are laid, right, and an embryo develops outside of the mother's body within an egg. So in other words, you know, your birds, your reptiles, your fish, and your amphibians. These are, you know, when you go hunting for eggs, or when you have eggs and bacon or whatever, eggs in the morning, scrambled eggs, poached eggs, all those different types of eggs. That's the reproductive strategy. That's ovipary, right? Oviparous, and they are very important. I'm going to skip, because I've put into certain orders. So I'm going to skip. So keep your eyes on the work where I'm writing, and then I will come back to one, okay? The next one I want to have a look at, I'm going to skip that one, and I'm going to go to that one. What I'm going to do is I'm quickly going to extend the page. There we go, so I can see something. Let's have a look at this one. Vivipary, okay? Now that's you and me, okay? And if we have a look at it, it's the method of reproduction in which a fetus develops in the uterus and is nourished through the umbilical cord, normally your mammals. Okay, so if you have a look at it, you have yourself, me, we are viviparous. What are your birds? They are oviparous, if you have a look at it. The oviparous, or ovipary, should I say. Okay, they're the same word. Oviparous or viviparous. Those are the two. One with an egg and one without an egg that is inside or outside your mom's body and inside your mom's body. Right. Now, the next one, I want you to have a look at this name. This is a cool thing. Okay, so you've got the ovipary and you've got the vivipary. Can you see it? Okay, the O and the Vi. So if we have a look at it, vivipary, inside your mother. Okay, ovipary, outside in an egg. So what will oviviviparous be? Okay, have a look at it. That is when somebody lays eggs, but instead of having an egg and they drop it out into the soil or wherever, what they do is they keep that egg inside them. And that egg hatches on the inside and it looks like they give birth to live young, but they don't. Then the shell comes out later. Let's have a look at what we said here. It'll come down. Here, method of reproduction is in which the young develops from eggs, that's important, okay, from eggs, that's very important, are kept within the mother's body, but separated from mother by a membrane. The mother's body does not provide nourishment. There is a yolk. Okay, and you normally get your sharks and some snakes. So, understand. Remember when I said to you, oviparous and viviparous. Oviparous, there's an egg. In that egg, you've got you've got the what's that thing called now? Your yolk, that's the word I'm looking for, and it's right there, your yolk, right? And that yolk helps nourish and everything, okay? Then you get the viviparous that is inside a tummy, and you'll get your food and everything from the mother. So it gets its nourishment from its mom, it'll get everything from its mom, okay? So that is the viviparous. And then you get the oviviparous, in other words, it's going to have an egg, but the egg stays inside the mother's body. But remember, it's oviparous because it doesn't get food from the mother. It has its yolk and its egg and everything inside the body. And they hatch, the live come out and then the eggs come out later. The shells come out later. Those are quite cool, hey? Now, as I said, you have your sharks and your snake that does that. The next ones, the next few terminology words, these are also, we're trying to go in and we're making it easier and difficult at the same time. Okay, so the first one we're going to have a look at it is amniotic egg. Okay, now that one's cool. Then you're going to get your prococole development. Okay, your it's your prococole development, and then you get your utricle development. Okay, now those two are quite cool. You need to think. It's words that you haven't heard before. They're very, very difficult. Let's see how good you are. I'm throwing you in the deep end, and let's see if you can swim. I'm going to give you 2 minutes for that. Ready? Off you go. Remember, guys, it doesn't matter how difficult it looks, the word looks. You need to try. And the more you try, the better you get. Okay? Very simple. Make sure you try. If you try and you don't get it right, you'll find out the answer and then it'll come right later on. Right? So make sure you always try. But if you don't try, you're never going to get there. Okay, so let's have a look at it. The first one, okay? First one is amniotic egg. And if we have a look at it, that's an egg produced by an oviparous, let me get this right, oviparous bird and an egg-laying mammals. Ooh, egg-laying mammals. Do you know what an egg-laying mammal is? Okay, I've heard of one, an egg-laying mammal. Okay, and if you look at that, that's oviparous, egg-laying mammal. I want you to have a look and see if you can find it. Platypus. Okay? It's a platypus. It's a mammal that lays an egg. Go and have a look. That's quite cool. Okay? I don't have it on here, but you go and try and find it. Have a look at a picture. It's beautiful. Okay? The next one. Here we go. Prococole. I can never get that word right, no matter how many times I've tried it. Okay? There we go. Prococele. Or let's try it. No, it's prococole. I'm going to leave it with that. It's the development. Okay. It's the hatching is capable of moving around on its own soon after hatching. Now, what does that mean? I've never heard of an animal that hatches and then all of a sudden it's perfectly fine. I mean, I've seen, if you have a look at your wildebeest, but remember that's viviparous, that's inside and it comes out live and it can run automatically. But have you ever seen a bird that can automatically, as it hatches, run around? I don't know if you think of one. I can. I'm sure I can. I must just remember. What about a duck? Can you remember a duck? Duck, they pop out and they run after their mom immediately. Ducks do it all the time. Okay, so that's it. The next one I'm looking at, of course, is the opposite. Okay, there it is. It's the opposite. Altrical. There we go. It's the hatchling cannot move around on its own after hatching. So that'll be your doves and that type of thing. Your doves, your owls, all those little things where the mom has to go and bring food for it. Okay? I know that you have the other one where the mother does help, but if you see the little ducklings, you can see them swimming all the time. But when it comes to animals like your doves and that, you wait till they can fly and then they only leave the nest. Right, so those are those. Okay? Now, what I have next, if it will come, I'm telling you a little bit about reproductive strategies. Okay? Now, these here, reproductive strategies, are very important in nature. Okay? Because without these, we're not going to perform to the best or be the best. Okay? And you'll die out, and the whole species will die out. So you need to get this. Okay, first one. There's a wide range of strategies. There's different ways of looking at it, right? Different strategies to get reproductive going. And remember, the reproductive system is the most important. I always tell everybody that I speak to that without reproduction, we're all going to die out. It doesn't matter how healthy you are. Reproduction is the point of living. Okay, you want to spread your name. That's how it is. Okay, then the next one, they maximize reproductive success. Okay, there we go, in different environments. So in other words, you want to make sure that your reproductive strategies work for your environment, because if they work for your environment, they're going to improve and you're going to develop and you're going to become stronger in that place. If you cannot adapt to your environment and it doesn't work in your environment, it's not going to help you. You're not going to survive. Okay? These are the things that you have to look for all the time. You're not going to see, let's say, your dolphins doing something that birds do. Okay? One's in water, one's out of water. Certain things that they do, the strategies of getting it. Okay? Next one, method of producing as many offspring as possible, right, that survive to maturity. Now, it's one thing having 1 million youngsters. Okay? If you have a look at it, every time that we have a look at animals that have lots of youngsters, there's a reason for it. Okay? All 90%, well, I can't say 90%, but a lot of those animals, or those babies, die out. I mean, that is why turtles lay so many eggs. They dig a hole, they lay lots and lots of eggs. And when those babies come out, it's a one-way track to the water, and a lot of them get eaten by all the animals that are around it, picking it up, the birds, the sharks, you name it, they are there. And at the end, maybe out of 100, you got like 3 or 4 that survive, okay? That's why they have so many, why they lay so many eggs, so that they can get to a certain maturity. If you look at us humans, we don't need to. We look after our babies. So we have one child at a time. We don't have thousands. We have one. And that there makes sure that the survival of us, we look after us. That's why we live with our moms till we're out of school. Okay? And then you got the next one, reproductive success in the production of offspring who survives to reproduce themselves. Okay? That means they even need to get older. So the whole point is to make sure that you got offspring that become mature. But you are measured by how many of those offspring can reproduce again. Does that make sense? These are very important things that we've got to have a look at. That is your strategy. With that, life is great. Okay, now I've given you this first bit of strategies. I hope I haven't blown your mind out of the water yet. But when we get back, we're going to have a little bit more, how do I say, more fun. I hope it's fun for you guys. I will see you after the break. I hope you've enjoyed your break. I know I have. I had a bit of a stretch session, and I was thinking that this brain of mine actually needs to get some cool things going, right? And things that you do see, but you hardly ever see, but you can see them quite easily, okay? Now, the first thing I want to have a look at is fertilization, right? Now, with fertilization, it's very cool. You get 2 types, okay? You get external fertilization and you get internal fertilization. Now, as it is, one's on the outside, one's on the inside, okay? Now, normally, you can't say all the time, but normally your internal fertilization, if you have a look at it, sperm goes inside and you've got an egg, you still have an egg. Please understand this, okay? If you have a look at the human female, they still produce the egg and goes down the fallopian tubes and all of that, and the sperm joins the egg, okay? But once that develops, now the mother looks after the egg. That is viviparous, okay? When you get oviparous, it can happen, internal fertilization, the male places a sperm into the vagina again, okay? And what happens is that sperm goes into that egg creates a shell, and then the female lays the egg, okay? So you see how both have left the body. Both the sperm is inside the female, okay? Now, the other one that we have is your external fertilization. And what I've got here is I've got a beautiful picture. Your frogs normally do it, okay? Now, if you have a look at this picture here, this is a cool picture. You'll notice that the female's at the bottom and the male's on the top. And what actually happens is the female lets the eggs go and she drops them in the water. And then what happens is as she's dropping it, the male climbs on her back and holds on and drops all his sperm and his semen on top of the eggs so that they are fertilized, okay? They all do that. Another one, I think if I'm not mistaken, and I'm sure it is, but your salmon do it as well. Okay, where your salmon goes, the female lay the eggs and the male come over it and drop all its semen across there. On the other side, you see these beautiful wasps, okay, and those wasps, internal fertilization, you can see they're busy joined over there, and that gives you the internal fertilization. Here, nothing penetrates anybody, it's just sitting there, and female drop eggs, male puts its sperm on top. Okay? Quite easy. External fertilization, internal fertilization. Okay, now, the next one we're having a look at, I want to give you some questions. Hopefully you've been listening, okay, and hopefully you've got more knowledge than what I expect. I know you do, you've been doing this section, so good luck. Let's have a look at these questions. First one I want to do is how do different groups of vertebrate maximize reproductive strategies? First one. What is internal fertilization? Mentioned it. Give an example of a vertebrate that uses internal fertilization. And then last one, list the reproductive strategies used by vertebrates. Now, you should know what vertebrates are, okay? So I'm going to give you, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to give you 2, let's make it, 2 minutes. and let's see how good you are. Give me everything you've got. You ready? Off you go. Okay, now I'm realizing that you guys are saying to me, hold on, you know what, you gave us difficult things in the beginning, and now they're getting easier, right? Yes, they're getting easier, but the simple things are the ones that you forget the quickest. The difficult ones, oviviparous, oviparous, all of those things, you remember. It's the ones that are so easy, that's the ones that we forget. So let's have a look at them. Okay, we're going to have a look at how many different groups, there we go, how many different groups of vertebrates maximize reproductive strategy. How do different groups of vertebrates maximize reproductive strategies? Here we go. First one, they use different types of reproductive strategies. So how do different groups, vertebrates, maximize reproductive success? They use different strategies. So in other words, they use things like lots of different eggs. They produce lots of offspring. If they produce lots of offspring, there's a big chance of surviving. Okay, that's the one. What about having only one child and protecting them as long as possible? Okay, how about staying in a group and you want to be in a pride so that your babies can be protected? Can you see how they all use different things to actually get there? Okay, the next one. What is internal fertilization? As I said, the egg and the sperm fuse, in other words, come together inside the female's body. Okay, now watch this. The egg and the sperm fuse inside the female's body. Now, I'm going to circle that because I'm going to give you a little bit of a challenge, something to do. Okay, and I want you to go do it at home. It's not for marks, it's not for anything. What I want you to do is I want you to go and find out something for me. Okay, I will give you the answer. Hopefully I remember at the end of this. Okay, but what I want you to do, I want you to figure out, is there any animal that the female puts the eggs inside the male and the male gives birth to them later? That is quite cool, right? Let's see how good you are. Let's see if you can find that, right? If you don't have it now, go and have a look it up. Go look it up later on and see if you can come right. Okay, the next one. Give an example of vertebrate that use internal fertilization. This is awesome. It is humans, dogs, cats, lions. Let's see, chickens, pigeons. Can you understand what I'm getting at? That is the most used, is internal fertilization. It's the most used. It's the one that is the most abundantly used. which is a good one, right? Because what happens is they're not going to lose the sperm. Say, for example, the eggs are lying there and you're dropping your sperm on top. You don't know if the water's going to push the sperm away or the wind or whichever, right? So you want it where you keep it in close proximity so that it can produce offspring as easy as possible, okay? The next one, list the 3 reproductive strategies used by vertebrates. Here we go. You get vivipary, you get ovipary, and you get ovivivipary. Okay? Remember, vivipary is when the mother looks after it inside and with an umbilical cord and gives it food and all of that. Okay? Ovipary means that you've laid an egg. And the last one, oviviviparous, it means that you have an egg, but the egg stays inside the mother. The mother does not look after the egg. It's still got a yolk to feed it. Okay, that's oviviviparous. Those are the simple ones. Not too difficult, huh? Cool. I'm glad you're getting it. Next one. I want reproductive strategies, but what I want to have a look at is ovipary. Okay, that means you lay eggs. Okay, now let's have a look at them. Here we go. You know them. Okay, it's eggs laid and a membrane develops outside the mother's body. In other words, it's soft, and as they're laid, it becomes a little bit harder. Okay, fertilized eggs supplied with rich yolk, which provides the embryo with carbohydrates, fats, albumin, which is a protein, okay, in which supplies protein, which is the albumin, right, as I said, and water. Very important. Water's got to be in there. Next one, the advantages, many eggs can be laid. Lots of them. That is why they use it. Okay, if you use a lot of eggs, if you lay a lot of eggs, what happens? More chances of survival if there's predators. Think about it. Okay, the next one, the disadvantage, eggs exposed to danger from predators and the environmental factors. If it's too cold, the eggs are not going to hatch. Okay, if water runs over, not supposed to have water, well, what do you think is going to happen? We're going to die out. Can you understand? So we need to look at these things very, very carefully. And what I've got here, if I have a look at it, I'm going to try and bring this all the way down to about there. And I've got an egg. Normally your birds, am I right? Okay, there's a nest. You can see the nest. So it's birds. And if I have a look at those eggs, those remind me of those little things that are running on the floor that if you go near the eggs, they dive bomb you like this. So if you're on the field and you see, I think we used to call them kivets. I'm sure they are like that. Okay. Now those kivets, that I used to know what is kivets, is they put their eggs on your school field, and then when you go close to them, they dive bomb you, and they can actually chase an elephant away, and they will bite you. Okay. The next one I'm having a look at here. This is cool. Okay. Now I want you to have a good look. Yes, I see you can see the whole egg, but I want you to have a look here. Look at this. Look at this piece here. Oh, too much there. It goes all the way there and back. Okay, and there's one eye, and there's one eye. So this one comes down here. Okay, and that will grow up having this big fin over here, for instance, right? Can you think what that is? That there in front of your eyes is a shark egg. Okay, that's a shark egg. There's the yolk that produces the albumin and all of that. Okay, that is a shark's egg. Now, we have this, a snake. Okay, now, I've put the snake here. I just want to know if I'm wrong or if I'm right. Okay, because in the beginning of the show, I said to you that your oviviviparous is some snakes. Okay, or should I say snakes? Okay, think about it. Is there an egg there? Can you see an egg? Yes. There's an egg. If it were right, there's an egg. Okay, now that egg, what the whole point about this is it's outside of the body. If this mother chose live, what would happen? The snakes would be alive and there would be no shells. Okay, very important to have a look at. Next one, key concepts. The next one that we're having a look at, okay, if I have a look at it, it's oviviviparous. It's got the double. Can you remember the double I was talking about? It's that one where it's got the eggs and the mother does and stays inside, should I say. Okay, let's have a look. Youth develops egg that keeps it inside the mother's body fertilized egg supplied with rich yolk, and the minute it's supplied with rich yolk, what happens? You don't have to worry, it's got food. Just remember that. Okay, which provides embryo with nourishment. The embryo develops inside. Okay, that's important. It's inside an egg. It's an egg's here inside it. It grows there. When it's old enough, it'll hatch out. See? Until they are ready to hatch. Next one. Each eggs hatch inside mother's body, and the young are born live. That is a big thing to look at. The mothers are born live. The babies are born live, straight out of the mother. And if you have a look at it, when your egg, it lays an egg, it's there. It looks after it and waits for the egg to chip out of the egg. But these guys, they are born live, so they come out as if it's natural birth. So they could have been classified as viviparous. The only problem is, inside, they have got an umbilical cord joined to mom to get the food from the mother. It's cool. Okay, next one. Hatchlings are able to look after themselves as soon as they hatch. Now, if you look at a snake and that thing comes at you and it's a baby, it's normally got more venom than the parent because it needs to protect itself. Okay, and then the second last one, the advantages of developing embryos protected inside the mother's body, well, of course, until ready for hatching. If it's inside, the mother's going to protect itself. The disadvantages, if a female carries eggs, is killed, the young are killed as well. Same as a mother carrying a child. Mother's killed, so are the babies. Right, now, I've got a picture over there for you. If you have a look at it, see how those babies are born young. Even though it's snakes as well, there's the mother snake sitting over there, and there's the baby snake sitting over there. There's one there, and there's one sitting over there. Can you see them? Now, all of those are your snakes. Well, not all snakes. This is your oviviviparous snakes. Okay, now, I'm sure there's more. There we go. Look at that. That snake was killed, and if you have a look inside, there is all your evidence of the eggs inside. So if the mother dies, so do the babies. Okay? And if I'm not mistaken, they actually sometimes, if they have the mother and they've killed it right now and they see it, they might be able to save those eggs as long as they get put into an incubator. Okay? So I know I can feel you guys slagging down a bit. We need to pick this up. We've got a few more left. But before we do that, we need a break so that we can liven up and freshen up and make sure that we are perfect for the next one. Right, I'll see you straight after this break. You've stretched, I've stretched, and the eggs are still in the same place as we left them. So let's go and learn about more. We've learned about oviparous, right? We went through and worked about viviparous. Now let's have a look at the last one, which is your, we looked at oviviparous, and now look at the last one, which is your viviparous. Okay, so we're going to go in green this time. So let's get viviparous. The fetus develops inside the mother's uterus, so in other words, where you came from, okay, and the nourishment through the umbilical cord. Something that where your belly button was. That's why we all have a belly button. That belly button is where your umbilical cord was, right? And the uterus and the placenta protect and nourish the developed embryo. So in other words, you've got this uterus, and around it there's placenta, and you've got your amniotic fluid and all of that to protect you. Okay, cool? Then you get young are born alive. Young are born alive. They are beautiful. Every single thing that is born alive, well, should I say everything that is born, I normally think is gorgeous and beautiful, but they come out beautifully, right? Here we go. And then the last one, young are not able to look after themselves immediately after birth. Okay, why do they say that? I mean, if I have a look at it, right, those impala that pop out of mommy and then get up and start running, a horse, a cow, they get up and start running. They do not. How do they not survive on their own? Off they go. Okay? Remember, they're still making sure they get their milk and their nutrition from mommy. Okay? That is a big key thing. Make sure you keep it in hand. That even though you can run and stand and do whatever you need to, you still can't protect yourselves. Okay? You can run as fast as mommy, but you need mommy for the milk. Okay, so what I've done is I picked something cute. I thought it was quite nice. There you are. Hey, look how cool that is. Everybody loves the panda bear. That's a panda bear. There's mommy and child, and mommy's got to look after child, same as mommy's got to look after you, and daddy's got to look after you, or whoever looks after you. You need somebody to protect you and look after you. Right, that is viviparous. Vi like my, M-I-M-Y, but vi, M-V-I. Very important ones to have. Okay, next one. I have a couple of questions for you. Now let's have a look at them. These questions are a little bit more difficult. No, rubbish. These are a little bit easier. Remember, the easy ones are the ones that you're going to struggle with later. So let's have a look at it. First one, what are oviparous? What is vivipary? And what is ovivivipary? Okay, next one, don't forget that. What is the correct biological term for the following? Okay, the type of fertilization that takes place outside the female's body. It's quite a cool one. The fusion of sperm and egg that occurs inside the female body. And then the type of reproduction where the fetus develops inside a uterus and is nourished by an umbilical cord. Right, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Yeah, I'd say that. No, I'm going to give you 3 minutes for that. Let's see how good you are. Ready? Go. Okay, let's have a look how you did. First thing we're going to have a look at, what are they? The first thing we can say is that what are ovipary, vivipary, and ovivivipary? They are reproductive strategies. Okay, next thing, ovipary, egg laid and an embryo develops outside of the mother's body within an egg. So remember, outside, develops outside in an egg. That's the most important, okay? Now, if I have a look at it, it's oviparous. The best way I used to remember is when you've got the ov, okay, that there is a shape of an egg. Can you see it? And when you get vi, if you have a look at it, I can always have a little head and arms and legs. Okay, so vi is me, and I was inside my mommy's tummy, right? But oviparous is in an egg because it's an O shaped, and that O means inside an egg. How cool is that? Let's go. Vivipary, fetus develops in the uterus and is nourished by an umbilical cord. Okay, that is the big thing. Nourished by an umbilical cord. That tells you it's viviparous. Because the next one, oviviparous, there it is, it's a fetus develops inside the egg and inside the mother's body. It is not given any nutrients from the mom. Look here, it's O, means it's got an egg, can you see it? And vive, because it's got you and me. Okay, like you and me. OV means it's in an egg, and vi, inside the mommy. Okay, these are quite cool. Next one. What is the correct biological term for the following? Can you remember I said that? What is the type of fertilization that takes place outside of the body? Okay, should I say the female's body? And that is external fertilization. Cool, huh? Next one. The fusion of sperm and egg that occurs inside the female's body, it is fertilization. That was one of the first things that we had to look at today. The first things we had to look at was today, and that is fertilization is when an egg and a sperm meets inside the female. Okay. The next one, the type of reproduction where the fetus develops inside the uterus and is nourished by an umbilical cord. And there we go, viviparous. Okay, these are simple, these are easy ones for you guys. Okay, let's have a look. I hope you guys all did nicely with those, but here we go. Remember I gave you those words, amniotic, and the ones that I can't say, I will get to it just now. And you know what, guys? It doesn't matter if you cannot say them, as long as you know them. Okay, so you see them, you know what they mean. Sometimes people can't say things, and trust me, I do it a lot, and I know it. Okay, here we go. Let's have a look at this. Amniotic egg, okay? Produced by an oviparous bird and an egg-laying mammal. Remember, I still know what I must tell you. Okay, those are your platypus. Okay, your flat-billed platypus. Okay, there we go. Embiotic develops inside a fluid-filled amnion surrounded by a shell of the egg. Okay, the shell can be hard and classified as leathery. Okay, now, I don't know if you've ever been to a pet shop and you've seen a bearded dragon. Now, a bearded dragon, those eggs are soft. It's quite cool. Okay, and the shell prevents embryo from drying out. Now, if I have a look here, okay, there is the egg, what's that thing called? A chicken. There's the chicken. There's the egg, okay, to protect it. There's the watery base, okay, and can you see that is the yolk? And that is the yolk that gives it all that other stuff. Remember we said the protein, the carbohydrate, it's water, all of that type of thing. Right, it's all there, okay? Next one, I want to go to the next. Let's see what else we've got here. Key concepts, the last one, remember these words. These are the words I cannot say for the life of me, and I don't know why. Okay, but here we go. The hatch is capable of moving around on its own soon after it's hatched. Okay? Very soon after it's hatched. In other words, it breaks the shell and off it runs. Breaks the shell and off it runs. And that is quite cool, right? And you get your domestic chickens and your ducks and geese. Okay, those are the ones. Remember I told you a duck can do it. Okay, the advantage is the hatching is able to avoid predation, in other words, predators. Okay, the disadvantages is large brain size at birth, yeah, but no brain growth. Thus, in adulthood, they have relatively small brains and a comparison to their body size. Okay, which is quite cool. So the brain doesn't grow, they stay small. Not good a thing. Okay, the next one, of course, is the one where most birds are, so they stay in a nest. Okay, they require lots of parental care. The advantage is a small brain at birth that grows with the bird, so they have greater adaptability, right, and intelligence than those you know which birds I'm talking about. For some reason I can't say them today, right? Those birds, the ones that can move immediately, right? And the disadvantage, hatchlings are vulnerable to predators. This nest must be concealed, and they're totally dependent on their parents for survival. That's why when snakes get up in there, they've got to hide their nest. They've got to put on edges so that snakes can't get to it. Okay, so it's a problem. Okay, now what I've done is I've given you these two pictures, and there they are. How cute is that? Okay, you've got your duck, right, and that is your pre-coat. I promise you, for some reason, and I know you're laughing in the back. I don't think it's funny. Well, I can never say these words, right? So here's the one that can, as it's hatched, it automatically comes out and it goes and it can swim and everything. And then you've got your other one that has to be looked after by the parents. Okay, now that bird and that bird, remember, these ones have to think a lot more. Okay, they are very clever. They learn how to attack, and they sometimes become predators. They are very clever to go find seeds and all of this. Their brain size stays the same as they're growing older and older and older. Right, so that was one of the big things. Now, before we go, I said to you, I wanted you to go and find me something, okay? And while you're doing it, it's very, very simple. I said to you, go and have a look if you can find an animal where the female puts the eggs inside the male, right? And there is one. And trust me, it is beautiful because this male has to protect and look after the eggs. And it's actually got a little pouch like a kangaroo, and it's not a kangaroo, right? These animals are actually found in water. Okay, and what they do is they're very small, sometimes all different colors, okay, and when it's time to get rid of these eggs, right, or give birth, it squeezes itself like this, and out pops these little things, right, and they're called seahorses. Right, I hope you've learned something new, and I want you to enjoy the rest of your day, right, and keep studying hard. That's all you need. Cheers.